Yes are a band that some people are familiar with. I mean, most people would know at least one or two of their songs. They have Owner of a Lonely Heart, which was from the 80s, All Good People, and Roundabout, which were their big hits from the 70s. They've been around for about 40 years. Basically, we made this movie. It was called All Good People, and it was just sort of this ridiculous like farce movie about a Yes song becoming like ridiculously popular. Not really even our best work. It was actually pretty amateurish, but for some reason, John Anderson, who's the lead singer of Yes, saw this somewhere and he got a kick out of it. So he apparently sent some of his minions out to get a hold of us.
So it's a Wednesday afternoon, and I noticed Dan's phone on the desk next to me starts to vibrate. I finish my thought, I grab the phone, I go down the stairs. Dan's making a bagel or something. Dan, your phone's ringing.
Oh, thanks, dude.
It said like 917 area code on it, didn't have a name, so...
Call the number back, and it's John Anderson. I hear, he's got a very distinct voice. Who is this? Had a half-hour conversation with him about all his music philosophy, and towards the end he just goes, "Oh, Dan, I wanna help you guys out. I really wanna work together," and tells us this whole master plan that he has about how we're gonna, film him on his tour with the School of Rock All-Stars.
The Paul Green School of Rock is an after-school program started in 1998, before the Jack Black movie ever came out.
No, that would be amazing.
I hear Dan downstairs get real excited, like he's talking to a friend that he hasn't seen in years or something. And then I realize that he's talking to John Anderson from Yes. We exchanged glances like we knew, what was going on.
No, definitely. I totally agree. Hang up the phone, and Tim and I are going nuts, and obviously I asked him to come along. He's my partner in crime here at Fairfield in the film department. So
after he had hung up, Dan came upstairs and very calm and collectedly said, so John is doing a tour with School of Rock All-Stars, and he wants us to come on tour and film it. And he wants me to, bring along any of my filming cohorts, which would be me. Yeah.
Fuck yeah! I guess we didn't really know what we were going out there to do. We just knew there was an awesome opportunity and there was a rock star involved. So we just went and did it and didn't really think about it. And that's why my dad came with us, just to sort of make sure that we didn't get swindled. And also he's like a huge Yes fan for the last 30 years, so that was pretty cool for him. A little tired, but I'm still racing right here a little bit. We just landed in LAX, and we're about to meet John Anderson of Yes fame.
We're kind of getting thrust into this, which, at first I was wondering can we do this or not? But if we're educated or qualified enough to do it, but I just think at some point you're gonna get thrown into something, and it's gonna force you to learn as you go.
Hey John, it's Dan. How's it going? Oh, you want us to come down now? Okay, we'll see you in a little bit then.
Starting to feel the nerves a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Which hotel?
Grand Californian or something. Talk about last night. We met John for dinner. And
yeah, we met him in the lobby of his hotel. He was right on time.
I'm Tim. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Two things. He's a pretty smart guy and he's got a lot of intense ideas, and at the same time he's very eccentric. I mean, from having spoken with him on the phone and corresponding with emails, kind of were expecting him to be a little bit of an odd dude, and he definitely lived up to that expectation, I'd say.
Wow, this is the guy. This is John Anderson. This is the guy that I've listened to for 35 years.
The dude's got like a million different crazy ideas, and God knows which ones he genuinely follows through on.
Maybe he has the liberty of experience and maybe even a little bit of money, I don't know that. But a brand new person rolling the dice on something with no bankroll and no backup, it's a gutsy move to pursue this career.
Where do we fall in all this? Are we just, you know, a throwaway couple of guys that he got to help him out with this one project, or is he like really genuinely focusing all his attention? I don't know. I mean, these were the things that we needed to talk about. Arriving back from his place last night, it was a little overwhelming.
All right, today was our first day at the NAMM show. The NAMM show stands for North American Music Merchants, and it is a trade show held in Anaheim for anything related to music, and it's the largest of its kind in the world. A crazy day there, basically. Got there around 9-ish, met up with John.
Are we right? Are we ready? Are we ready? Hands in the middle. Are we ready? Shit!
1, 2, 3, shit! We followed him around, and as soon as the gates opened, he was off to the races. He's sort of like this little, like, sprightly elf. He just, you know, darts from one place to the next. And we had to keep up. He was mainly looking out for people who were already playing something. And he would try and go and sing along or play guitar and sing with them. And probably like 8 out of 10 people didn't know who he was. Some of the people were like smiling and looking at him. It's like some crazy old man that just went up and started singing lyrics he's making up on the spot with them. And then one of the first booths he stopped at, he picked up a guitar and drew on it with a Sharpie, played it, and then walked away with it. And we found out later that he had basically just defaced the guitar and stolen it. And as he's trying to walk out with it, they say you need a gift pass on it to walk out, which he didn't have. It was funny walking around with him and security telling us to turn the cameras off and not turning them off, and watching this debacle as he was trying to get a free guitar. It's been a tiring day. We got half an hour now before we got to leave again and go watch him play 2 songs, Roundabout and Owner of a Lonely Heart with the School of Rock All-Stars.
So there's the regular School of Rock, and then there's the All-Stars, which are sort of the elite bunch of kids that are the best musicians from all the schools. You have to try out for this, and they get to go on tour as a band, and sometimes they'll have rock stars, for example, John Anderson.
These kids will blow your mind. Not only can they play, but they're just sweet. I don't know. Paul, he's done a great job with
I will say this, he is still a very talented musician. He was nailing notes, singing with the kids. And I gotta say, these kids, I'd heard stuff about them, but they were intensely talented and really fun to watch. Totally reaffirmed my faith in this project, seeing these kids play.
You know anything about indigo children? Well, indigo children are the higher beings that have been promised to this world. And they've been coming for 10 years now. And the last sort of, you know, crop of these children are coming through in the next 5 years. I think it's a 14-year cycle.
Right now, I'm waiting for John because he had to go into his hotel to drop off a bottle of champagne he got from his trailer. The guy is incredible at collecting free stuff. He is the master of swag.
Are you going to give me some shit or what? Come on!
It was pretty unbelievable today. Got to go behind the scenes at Disney. Let me go backstage and film the rehearsal of John with the Yamaha band. Today was also cool because I got to hang out in a celebrity trailer with John, just one-on-one, and got to ask him a bunch of questions about the good old days with Yes, which, I mean, is once in a lifetime. We'll never get to do something like that again, just one-on-one, hanging out with him, asking him, like, what bands he toured with.
The first tour Yes ever did was so amazing because the Who were the headliners.
And, like, what songs he wrote.
I didn't want to just say what I was thinking. I wanted to put it into more poeticness, if you like, you know.
Just unbelievable stuff that is gonna, change the way I listen to the music.
Pete Townsend was writing Tommy because we got a chance to chat towards the end of the tour. I'm sitting next to Pete Townsend and he's talking to me. I said, "What are you up to?" I said, "Oh, I'm writing this sort of musical opera type. It's about Tommy, blind, deaf and dumb kid." And it went right over my head because I was looking at Pete Townsend.
And maybe he will, remember my name.
And the more you know, the more there is to know. It's a never-ending cycle, you know.
Today, went around with John and actually got some interviews with the kids. Their thoughts on the whole rock and roll situation with Paul Green School of Rock, and that was really interesting. They had some really cool stuff to say.
When I heard we were going to play with John Anderson, I was totally excited for that.
It was incredible to play with John Anderson. He's a really nice guy and a great musician.
Some of my favorite Yes songs? I'm not sure. I'm not huge on like that kind of music.
Something extraordinary happened today at NAMM. It happened when the Vortex opened over the entire event. If you haven't heard of the Vortex, I can show you. It's this guy right here. This is the Vortex, created by John Anderson, and it connects us spiritually through the crystals that are in all of our bodies. And today, in John's haste, he had to leave it behind at the conference. Little problem with security when we were trying to leave. They thought I had stolen this from somewhere, God knows where. Why would I ever want to steal this? They almost weren't going to let us leave with it. And finally, I just had to say to him, "Look, I don't want this, but I have to take it." Thank God we got to carry this back 2 miles to our hotel so that we could have it with us here tonight. It's a Vortex. All the crazy ideas that John had been talking about all weekend, finally on Saturday, had to get done. So John's grand scheme was to have this paper chase.
Tim and I and Paul and Adonis were more or less just hoping that he was going to completely forget about it. And he didn't.
John had this book of stones, or something they called it. It was basically a Staples 3-ring binder with some construction paper in it, and glued to the paper were rocks that he got in Hawaii that he painted green. And he had a couple different people lined up to do the chase. And finally he settled on his tech guy, Joe, who's really one of the funniest and most intelligent guys we ever met.
John springs this idea on him and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll do it."
This just in, a village in Texas is missing its idiot.
he had this whole thing where Joe had to tell jokes constantly, and if he wasn't telling a joke, he had to completely stay still.
Okay, so how do you know when a drummer's at your front door? The knock keeps getting faster and faster. Why do clarinet players leave their clarinet cases up on their dashboard when they go to practice? So they can park in the handicapped spots. How do you get a guitar player off your front porch? You pay for the pizza.
You know, John thinks it's going to be this epic thing where we hide all these, like, Filipino alphabet letters, you know, that are cut out of cardboard. So what we did was just stage the whole thing, and Joe was a real good sport about it.
We found the F.
You know, finally, when it comes down to it, John's gonna get what he wants because he's been getting what he's wanted since 1968.
He had this idea that XM radio was responsible for all of the crop circles because, like, they had all the satellites. And so when John was there, like, doing a gig, he had me pretend to be his tech while I was actually snooping around trying to figure out where the computers were that were controlling the crop circles.
Even the guys we were working with, Paul and Adonis, the professional guys, said, yeah, this is a crazy idea, but John wants us to do it, so we're going to do it because he's John Anderson, and, like, who are we to tell him this is a stupid idea? So it turned out to be fun because, you know, Joe had some fun with it.
Okay, so there's just nothing funny about that.
The show at the Lennon bus ended up being kick-ass, and the difference between that show and the one that they had played at the Roxy a couple nights before was that the Roxy show was all parents. It was some fundraiser, so it was all School of Rock parents. This one was totally random people from the NAMM conference that had no idea, like just some random kids get up on stage and like, who the hell are they? And they ended up rocking everyone's faces off, and it was great.
Are these kids fucking amazing or what? My God!
More importantly was that while we were filming, my father got in touch with Tina Karekis, who is Paul Green's executive assistant.
And she was pretty intimidating, I'm going to be honest with you at first. When we got back after the weekend, we got right on it and set up a meeting with her.
And we were like, look, we're two film kids, we think the School of Rock is kick-ass, and we're John Anderson's buddies. Whatever it is that we can offer you, we will do it, because we think it's a great opportunity, and we are, you know, we're big supporters of the school after these two shows that we saw. They blew our minds.
She was really, you know, friendly and just really into what we wanted to do with absolutely no reason, and she got us hooked up with going on tour over spring break.
We headed out. We did all the semester before spring break, and went to our classes, and you know, rented out some HD cameras, which we were very excited about. And just went on the road. Didn't know what to expect. Drove down to Philadelphia. We didn't know anybody there except Tina. We had never met Paul Green before. So we show up at the Philly school and set up all our equipment in the rehearsal room, and all the kids are sort of just looking at us like, who the hell are these random camera guys? But everything more or less went smoothly with rehearsals. We got interviews with everybody from, you know, Tina to some people that were working at the School of Rock to a bunch of the students. And John showed up, and it was like a huge thrill for all the kids. It was amazing for them because they're all huge Yes fans, which is ridiculous because they're all 15 years old. Like, who would have thought that would ever happen? Paul Green shows up, and he's definitely a character. Didn't really know what to expect from him, but he was kind of half like supporting what we were doing and half making it blatantly known that he thought we were like a total pain in the ass, which was kind of funny.
What the hell's this? Paul, got any comments right now?
No.
General state of things?
Yeah, I wasn't being filmed right now.
And we filmed our first show at the Trocadero in Philadelphia.
You know, it was our first time really ever filming a live show and, you know, doing it properly. So I kind of felt the pressure when we first got there. And it went pretty smoothly, I think, for our first time.
The first show went very smoothly. Not so much for the second show. It was at B.B. King's Blues Club in New York City, which we were very excited about because it was sold out. Didn't realize that sold out meant that there was not going to be a 2 square foot radius in the entire room that we were going to be able to stand without blocking the view of 10 people behind us.
Only to be topped by when we got on the tour bus 2 days later to drive to Rochester, when we first got stuck in New York traffic, then got a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York, and then a blizzard hit. But we did make the show on time and it was all good. The next day, whiteout blizzard, almost didn't make that show, could not see the road in front of us on the bus. But did eventually make it to Pittsburgh that day.
John decided to ride the bus with us, and this was probably a bad idea because he got very antsy and bored, and that gets his brain stewing on absurd John Anderson ideas.
I'm too busy writing Nam, the musical. Nam. I'm in a creative zone.
He wanted us to make a canopy of green paper that was strung together with string that went the entire length of the bus. We're trying to squash the idea all week, and it simply would not go away.
Dude, can I talk to you, Dan?
What? About what?
Oh, stuff.
Following day, beautiful, gorgeous day, smooth sailing, make it to Civilization and find out that John is too sick to perform, and that was the Fairfield show where we had family and friends coming, so that was a disappointment, but there was going to be 2 shows that night. He had been sick all week, so I guess it was for the best, and the night after that, John felt up to doing the show, so we drove back into New York and did one last hurrah at the Highline Ballroom.
Headed back, and you know, it was surreal coming back to Fairfield campus. We ended up getting back here at like 3:30 in the morning or something, and it felt like we had been away for a really long time.
At nearly every show we were at, Yes fans, parents, just people who were there to check it out were asking us where could they buy this footage, like is this going to be a DVD, where can I get this, you're going to put it on YouTube. So there's some you know, pretty good interest for what we were doing.
I think with any job, there's an idealism and a practical presentation in a classroom, and whether it's college or high school. They're trying to give you a broad education, give you some exposure to the real world, but I think until you're in the real world, there's no way to really know what it's like.
You get to just set things up on the fly, and it's not going to look perfect because it's real life. Also, what I liked about that is you could create the story and the editing. So what I'm finding out now is how hard it is actually to create that story through the editing, but it's kind of a challenge that I like to take on.
I wasn't ever 100% sure that I had made the right decision being a film major. After this was over, like, I was pretty assured that I wanted, that I do want to pursue something in film.
And I really believe it's not always about what you know, but about who you know. I feel very fortunate to have been given the opportunity and hopefully run with it from here.
There's no way of knowing whether every film project I do from here on out is going to be as promising and as exciting as this one, but I know it's been an incredible experience, and it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it's made me, feel good about my decision to try and become a filmmaker.